So what is money? And to understand that, we have to get a really good understanding of what we mean by money. We're not just talking about bills with somebody's name on it or coins. There's a whole bunch more in understanding what is money. We'll take a look at that right now. So money is defined by its usefulness. If you look at money, we're concerned with the concept of usefulness. And money is useful because it allows us to exchange goods and services. It allows us to buy goods and services. It allows us to sell our services to other people. That's the utility or the usefulness of money. Before money existed, we used barter, where you would basically see one person getting together and exchanging goods and services with another person. So let's just take a look and see why barter was probably an inefficient way of actually managing money. If we see here, we're trying to exchange between two people. If we're lucky, maybe what the person on the left is selling is what the person on the right wants, but it's not often the case. If you want to exchange if you want to give somebody an automobile, what do you exchange it for? I mean, what would be the equivalent in terms of the number of kilos of wheat or something like that? And how do you go about making such an exchange in a barter economy? So barter is basically trading one good or service for another. and I'm sure you've all seen this or even maybe partaken in barter. In an economy without money, an exchange between two people would involve a double coincidence of wants. And so this is getting back to what we were saying. It's basically saying we have one person over here and they say, I want, let's say, a box of goods and services. And they have, I don't know, something to give, maybe a container of oil. And on this side, we've got somebody who wants a container of oil and is ready to give a box filled with what the other person wants. And so we can have an effective exchange. And this is called the double coincidence of wants. The wants coincide. And everybody's happy. And things work out pretty well. Today, this is a really good example. And some of you have maybe heard about this, where people are literally swapping out their homes. And you get to see my skills as an artist here. People have ways to exchange their homes. Let's say somebody wants to go visit Florida and somebody else lives in Paris. Well, what happens is that instead of going and buying a hotel room and whatnot, well, they just exchange the use of homes, home swapping, that exists. The other exists in what's called professional services. And this is often referred to as courtesy. Professional courtesy is when, for example, one physician will provide services for another physician's family and vice versa. Now, this raises a bunch of tax issues, and governments don't really like swapping and bartering very much because it's very hard to control. Simple example, when I was a graduate student, I worked and I was in the university, and the university per year maybe cost about $20,000 for fees. Of course, I had no money, zero money available to pay for that, and so I worked as a assistant professor. And as an assistant professor, the school paid me the huge sum of about $700 per month. Now, that was very nice. So I was receiving the $700 per month, which would not cover the $20,000. So in addition to that, they gave me what's called a stipend. A stipend was a fee stipend, allowed me to have the 700 plus have a stipend to cover my fees, the 20,000. So in reality, I was getting paid 20,000, which I was just using to pay for my fees. I never really got the 20,000. They just allowed me to enroll free of charge in my classes. And also I got $700 a month. So free enrollment plus 20,000. No, excuse me, that covered the 20,000 plus my 700. So I was getting 700 a month and I had free enrollment that was valued at 20,000. Now, you can be surprised that Uncle Sam did not like this because I was really receiving 20,000 worth of courses, but I was only making 700 a month. And so Uncle Sam said, no, Dan, you must pay tax also on the value of the 20,000. So your income, which was 700, plus the value of the free enrollment, which was 20,000. Obviously, many people got upset by this change in the law, and it was not accepted. Thank God. So barter creates situations where people exchange goods and services, but we can see over here in the example, there's no tax being done. Now, legally, you're supposed to declare that and pay tax on it, but it often escapes tax. So if we go back to money, money serves four important functions and helps solve problems associated with barter. The first of money is a medium of exchange, a medium of exchange. This means that we can use it as an intermediary. Instead of, for example, if we go back to the last example, we had a person that had a box full of something and a bunch of oil in a container. Well, instead of swapping or exchanging the two items, I exchange this for money, and I can exchange this for money, and then I just trade the amount of money in the economy. So I don't need to have an exact match. I could say maybe trade this for $100, and this is equal to $100, and I don't need to go out and find this person until I'm ready to buy the barrel of money. I can easily sell this to somebody else who doesn't have a barrel of money but wants my box. So a medium of exchange is an intermediary between a buyer and seller. It must be widely accepted. It's got to exist for everybody in the economy. Everybody has to have access to it. Everybody must believe in it as a method of payment. Interesting point, in the United States, long time ago, different types of methods of payment, different monies existed in every state. There wasn't one US dollar. There were many forms of money in the economy. And what made the dollar more important over time was that it became more widely accepted. And obviously we can exchange one product of money for money and then exchange the money for something else. I don't have to go out and find the perfect match between needs and wants. I can have an imperfect match. Money is a store of value, so I can put the money aside and it's still worth something in the future. If I barter, I can get a product in exchange, I can store it, but if it goes out of style or decreases in value or demand falls for that product, I've lost value. So money is something you can keep and use later without significant change in the value, because we know what? We know that if we have a bunch of money sitting around in my house or in books, because I'm afraid people find my money, whatever, well, with inflation, the value of all of this is going to drop over time. My money buys less. So yes, it erodes the value of money, but there still is a store of value somehow. Third, money is a unit of account. We measure the value of something in terms of money, in terms of the currency we use. So we'll measure in euros or dollars or yen or whatever. And lastly, money is a standard of deferred payment. I can consume a product today, emit a bill, and pay in the future. I don't have to do things at the exact same time.